In this Nuage tutorial video, we're going to talk about editing audio using the Move button on the Nuage master unit. So if we take a look here, I've got this same project up with some events in here. I'm going to go ahead and select this one object, or audio event, up here on the top track. Now, if I turn the Move function on just by tapping it, again, this can be intermittent or it can be latched. Like if I just press and hold, it's intermittent. If I tap it, it's in latch mode. Now, just by turning the scroll wheel, I can move the audio event around like this. If you use the Alt key, you can move the audio event up and down to adjacent tracks, or just to the left and right. Now, the interesting thing about this is, I'm going to zoom in here and sort of line up a transient to the cursor. The interesting thing about this is, as I'm moving this around from left to right, the object, in this case the audio event, is being moved relative to the cursor position. So I've positioned the cursor at, say, like a drum hit, or an impact in the audio file, something, a specific sound. Now I can move that specific sound around the timeline left or right. And when you're working to picture, this really becomes terribly important, because now I can line that particular sound up with a particular frame of video. Like in this case, let's say I want to line it up where his fist grabs a hold of the girl like that, right at the impact point. That's where I can have this sound that I have selected in the project and have it align with that particular video frame. This is pretty significant when you're trying to align sound effects to picture. It's just a great way to synchronize what you're hearing in a certain point in time in that audio file with a specific video frame. And using the Move function with object selection makes it very, very easy to do that. Now, there's one unique feature about the Move function with object selections, and that is we can move the contents of the audio event without moving the audio event itself. Let me show you how that works. If you have an object selected, Move is on, and you press the Shift and Alt keys together, now turning the scroll wheel doesn't move the cursor at all. It just moves the contents of the audio event itself. This is very useful in music editing, where you're trying to align drums or other musical instruments together, and you want to keep the editing points at the same position, but you want to reposition the audio underneath or inside of those edit points. So that's moving the contents. With the range tool in the range selection mode, Move operates in much the same way with a couple of differences. So if I switch to range selection, and let's make a new selection up here on this top track. Now I've only selected a portion of this audio event. If I move that portion of audio, it's going to automatically create a separate audio event. It's going to divide this up. Let me show you. I'm going to press Move, and I'm going to just drag that selected audio. And now it's moved it to another position on the timeline. But at the same point, it created three different audio events. We have this audio event, this audio event, and this audio event now, where before we only had one. So that's a very quick way of dividing audio recordings up or audio events up, is using the range tool and moving things around. Another handy thing about the range move mode is you can move the audio up and down in the same fashion, and it will automatically create these other audio events. So if I put it in Move mode and press the Alt key, now I just have moved that portion of audio up and down to adjacent tracks. The one unique thing about the range edit mode and moving is that if we have a range selection that's all by itself, like down here on this third track, we can actually move the selection itself without moving any audio. If that selection was up on the first track, we could still move it, and even though we cross over other audio like that, it's just moving the selection itself, not any underlying audio. So that's one unique thing about range editing and the move function. So there you have it. That is how you use the move button with both object selection and range selection on the master unit. We'll be back with more editing tutorials.